My daughter handed Grandma a portrait she had sketched. My sister snorted and said, "She's not creative. She traces stuff off Pinterest." My cousin leaned in and whispered, "You don't know that she was the youngest finalist in the National Arts Showcase?" My sister chose the exact second my 8-year-old handed my mother a portrait to try to destroy her. We were standing around my mom's dining table when Lily walked up with a flat, wrapped frame she had been guarding all evening. She had barely touched her food. She just kept glancing at the gift like she was waiting for the right moment. "Grandma, I made this for you." She unwrapped it carefully and turned it around. It was a charcoal portrait of my mother sitting on her porch swing, sunlight hitting one side of her face. The wrinkles around her eyes were soft, not exaggerated. The porch boards were textured. Even the tiny wind chime my mom keeps by the railing was there. For a few seconds nobody spoke. My mom put her hand over her mouth. "Alexis, this looks exactly like me." Before I could respond, Rachel made a sound like she had just tasted something sour. "Oh please. She's not creative. She traces stuff off Pinterest." It landed heavy. Lily was still standing there holding the bottom of the frame. I said, "What are you talking about?" Rachel shrugged. "I've seen identical drawings online. Kids trace them. It's not that hard." "Lily does not even own a tablet," I said. "You can print things, Alexis." I saw my husband Daniel shift in his chair, but he stayed quiet. My dad suddenly became very interested in refilling his water. Nobody wanted to get in the middle of it. Then Marissa leaned toward Rachel and said, "Low but not low enough. You don't know that she was the youngest finalist in the National Arts Showcase?" Rachel blinked. "The what?" I felt my stomach tighten. I hadn't told anyone yet. Lily had begged me not to. She didn't want pressure. She wanted to just draw. But now everyone was staring at me. As I said, "The National Arts Showcase. They contacted us 3 weeks ago. She's one of 5 finalists in her age group." Rachel let out a short laugh. "You're serious?" "Very." The judges saw her submission online through her art teacher. They asked for verification, process photos, even a short live Zoom session where she sketched in real time. "That portrait she just gave Mom? It's based on a reference photo I took. She spent 2 weekends working on it." Rachel crossed her arms. "Anyone can fake that." Lily's fingers tightened around the frame. I could see her trying not to cry. That's when I realized this wasn't about skepticism. Rachel wanted Lily to fail. She wanted that moment taken away from her. And the worst part was I knew why. For the last 2 years, I had been quietly paying Rachel's daughter Emma's private school tuition. Rachel's divorce had been messy and she couldn't afford it on her own. I also covered half her rent every month so Emma wouldn't have to change schools. Nobody else in the family knew. Rachel had never once said thank you in front of anyone. She liked the narrative that she was doing it all herself. And now, watching her try to humiliate my child in front of everyone, something shifted inside me. Marissa broke the silence. "I saw the email too. Aunt Alexis showed me." "Real. They're flying Lily to Chicago next month for the live final." Rachel's face changed for a second. Not embarrassed. Not proud. Threatened. "Well, I guess we'll see what happens when she has to draw without tracing." Lily finally spoke. "I don't trace." Nobody answered her. Dinner ended awkwardly. People left early. My mom hugged Lily twice and told her she was proud. Rachel didn't say goodbye to me. Later that night, after Lily was asleep, my phone buzzed. It was an email from the National Arts Showcase coordinator. Subject line: "Urgent concern regarding finalist submission." My chest went tight. The message said they had received an anonymous tip claiming Lily's artwork was plagiarized from an online source. The email included a link to a Pinterest board and screenshots. They would need additional proof of originality before allowing her to compete. I stared at the screen for a long time. There are only a handful of people who even knew about the competition. And one of them had just accused my daughter of tracing. That was the moment I stopped seeing Rachel as my struggling little sister. And started seeing her as someone I might have to cut out of my life completely. I did not sleep that night. The email sat open on my phone while Daniel pretended to be asleep next to me. Around 2 in the morning he finally said, "You think it was Rachel?" I said, "Who else even knew?" "Lily's art teacher." "Marissa." "Me." "And Rachel." Daniel turned toward me. "Do you want to ask her directly?" "No," I said. "She did it, she will lie." The arts showcase gave us 48 hours to respond with proof. They wanted process photos, timestamps, drafts, and another live drawing session monitored by 2 judges. I woke Lily up early before school. "Hey, I need you to show me everything from when you drew Grandma's portrait." She immediately looked scared. "Did I do something wrong?" "No. I just need your help." She brought out her sketchbook stack from her room. "He keeps everything. Half-finished eyes. Hands at different angles. Practice shading. Pages filled with porch railings because she could not get the perspective right the first time." We laid them all out on the dining table. There were at least 30 pages leading up to the final portrait. Daniel photographed each one. After school that afternoon, Lily sat in front of my laptop for the requested live session. 2 judges watched her draw a simple still life I set up on the kitchen counter. A mug. An apple. A folded napkin. They asked her to rotate the objects halfway through. He did not hesitate. She adjusted the shadows naturally. When the session ended, one of the judges smiled and said, "Thank you, Lily. That was excellent." By evening, we received confirmation that her finalist position was secure. I should have felt relief. Instead, I felt angry. Because the anonymous tip email included specific details. It referenced the exact Pinterest board where Rachel gets her home decor ideas. It even used the same phrasing Rachel had used at dinner. Anyone can fake that. It was not random. The next day I called Rachel. "Did you contact the arts showcase?" Silence for a second. "What are you talking about?" "They received an anonymous accusation that Lily plagiarized her work." "That's crazy." I waited. Rachel said maybe someone saw it online and thought it looked familiar. "It cited your Pinterest board, Rachel." Another pause. "You think I would sabotage an 8-year-old? I think you tried to humiliate her in front of everyone." "Oh my God, Alexis. You're being dramatic." I almost laughed. "Dramatic. Rachel, I am paying Emma's tuition. I cover half your rent. And you tried to tear down my daughter in front of the entire family." She said, "You don't have to throw that in my face." "I have never thrown it in your face. Till now." She went quiet. Then she said something that made everything clear. "You don't get to act superior just because your kid can draw." That was it. Not denial. Not outrage. Jealousy. I ended the call without another word. That evening, I logged into the tuition portal for Emma's private school. I stared at the upcoming payment scheduled for the following month. Then I clicked cancel. After that, I opened my banking app and removed the automatic transfer I had set up for Rachel's rent 2 years ago. My hands were steady. The next morning, Rachel called me 12 times. I did not answer. By noon, she sent a text. "What did you do?" I replied with one sentence. "You don't get to attack my child and still expect my support." She showed up at my house an hour later. And she was not there to apologize. Rachel did not knock politely. She pounded on my front door like I owed her money. Daniel was home that day working remotely and he opened it before I could get there. I stayed in the hallway listening. Rachel walked straight in without being invited. "Why did Emma's school call me this morning asking about a missed payment?" "Because I canceled it." "You can't just do that." "I can. It's my account." She looked around like she expected someone to step in and fix it for her. "You know, I don't have that kind of money right now." "I know." She lowered her voice. "Emma will have to transfer schools." I didn't respond. Rachel stepped closer. "This is about dinner? You're going to ruin my daughter's education because I said something?" "You didn't say something. You tried to discredit Lily publicly. And then someone sent a detailed plagiarism complaint to the competition." "I didn't do that." I looked at her. "The exact phrasing from your Pinterest board was in the email." "That proves nothing. Maybe not legally. But I know you." She laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You think you're so perfect. Flying your kid to Chicago. Posting her little art projects online. Acting like you raised a prodigy." "I have never once posted her art publicly." Rachel stopped. I said, "We kept the finalist news quiet. You were one of 5 people who knew." She didn't answer that. Instead she said, "So you're just cutting me off? After everything?" "After everything, yes." Daniel finally spoke. "Rachel, you tried to hurt a child because you felt threatened." She turned on him. "Stay out of it." "No," he said. "You walked into our house." Rachel's phone buzzed. She glanced at it and I watched her face shift again. "What?" I asked. She hesitated. "Emma's school just sent an email. They said if the balance isn't paid within 10 days, her spot will be released." There was real consequences. For a split second I almost folded. Emma is innocent in this. She did nothing wrong. Rachel saw the hesitation and moved in for it. Please. We can figure this out. I'll apologize to Lily. No, I said. You don't get to use apologies as currency. She stared at me. You're serious? Completely. Rachel left without another word. I thought that would be the end of it. A messy family fracture but contained. I was wrong. 3 days later my mother called me in tears. Rachel had told the entire extended family that I was blackmailing her and threatening to pull financial support unless she publicly praised Lily's art. That was not even close to the truth. And it got worse. Because someone had posted online that Lily's finalist spot was under investigation for fraud. It was gaining traction. And this time it wasn't anonymous. The post was on Facebook. Rachel didn't even try to hide it. She had written a long paragraph about privilege, about parents who buy their children opportunities, about art competitions that don't check for plagiarism. She never used Lily's name, but she didn't need to. Our town is small. Everyone knew. Then she added, some kids trace and get praise. Some kids work hard and get nothing. The comments were worse. People asking if it was true. People tagging each other. Someone wrote, I saw that drawing. Did look like something off Pinterest. My hands were shaking when I closed the app. Daniel said, screenshot everything. I did. By that afternoon, Lily's art teacher called me. Alexis, I just saw a post circulating. Is Lily okay? Not really. The teacher paused. The school administration saw it too. They're concerned about bullying. Bullying. That word made it real in a way I hadn't allowed myself to process. When Lily got home from school, she went straight to her room. No snack. No talking about her day. I followed her. Did something happen? She nodded without looking at me. What? A girl in my class asked if I cheated. She said her mom showed her something online. I sat on the edge of her bed. What did you say? I told her I didn't. That was it. No crying. No yelling. Just that. That night I emailed the arts showcase coordinator again, not about the accusation this time, but about the public defamation. By morning I had a reply. They were aware of the social media post. Their legal team had flagged it. Because Lily was a minor and a verified finalist, publicly implying fraud could be considered defamation. They asked for the link. I sent it. 2 days later, Rachel received a formal cease and desist letter from the competition's legal department. She called me immediately. What did you do? I didn't do anything. You posted it. You sicked lawyers on me. You tried to sabotage an 8-year-old on a national platform. You could have just talked to me. I tried. There was a long silence. Then she said something that stunned me. You know why this bothers me so much? I waited. Because when we were kids, you were the talented one. You got the scholarships, the awards, the attention. And now your daughter is doing the same thing. And Emma, she struggles. She works twice as hard for half the recognition. There it was. Not about Pinterest. Not about tracing. History. I said, that's not Lily's fault. No, she said. But it still hurts. For a second I almost felt sorry for her. Then I remembered my daughter sitting on her bed being asked if she cheated. Rachel continued, take the money back for Emma's school. Fine. But don't drag lawyers into this. You dragged lawyers into it when you made public accusations. She went quiet again. The cease and desist required her to delete the post and issue a public clarification within 48 hours. She deleted the post. But instead of apologizing, she wrote something else. And that decision cost her more than just financial support. Rachel did not apologize. Instead, she posted a new status. Said, I was misinterpreted. I never mentioned any names. People are free to draw their own conclusions. That was it. No clarification. No correction. Just more fuel. The cease and desist required a clear retraction. What she wrote was the opposite. By that afternoon, the arts showcase legal team escalated it. This time it was not just a warning. They were prepared to pursue formal action if the insinuations continued, especially because sponsors were starting to ask questions. Rachel called me again. You need to tell them to back off. I can't. Yes, you can. It's your kid. Exactly. She started crying. Not quietly. Not privately. Loud, frantic spiraling. They're threatening to sue me. Do you understand what that would do? I can't afford a lawyer. I can barely afford rent now because you decided to punish me. This is not punishment. This is consequence. You're destroying my life. No, Rachel. You did that when you went after my daughter. She hung up on me. 2 days later, my mom showed up at my house unannounced. She looked older than she had a week ago. Can't you just fix this? Fix what? Your sister is falling apart. Emma might have to change schools. There are lawyers involved. This is family. I said family does not publicly accuse an 8-year-old of fraud. Your mom sighed. Rachel says you're overreacting. Of course she does. My mom hesitated, then said something that caught me off guard. Rachel asked me for money. I told her no. I told her she needs to learn that actions have consequences. That was the first time I realized I wasn't alone in this. A week later, the Arts Showcase made a public announcement highlighting their strict verification process and reaffirming Lily's finalist status without referencing the drama. It was professional and clear. The attention shifted back to the competition. Rachel finally posted a proper retraction. Short, vague, forced. I regret my previous statements. There was no plagiarism involved. No apology to Lily. But by then, the damage to our relationship was already done. Emma ended up transferring to a public school. Not because I forced it. Because Rachel refused to take out a loan or downsize her apartment. Pride mattered more. The night before we left for Chicago, Rachel sent one last message. I hope she wins. I really do. I stared at it for a long time. It was the closest thing to sincerity I had seen from her in months. I did not reply. Because I knew something Rachel didn't. Win or lose, everything had already changed between us permanently. Chicago was cold and loud and nothing like our quiet Ohio suburb. Lily carried her sketchbook through the convention center like it was a normal weekend field trip, not the National Arts Showcase final. The other finalists were older, some of them already taking private studio classes. Their parents hovered with portfolios and business cards. Lily just looked around and whispered, "This is big." The final round was simple. Blank canvas. 2 hours. The theme revealed on the spot. The word flashed on the screen above the stage. Inheritance. I felt something twist in my chest. Lily looked up at me from her seat. I nodded. When the timer started, the room went silent except for charcoal and graphite moving across paper. Other kids sketched obvious things. Family trees. Jury. Old houses. Lily closed her eyes for a second before she began. She drew hands first. Older hands resting on younger ones. Then she built the rest around it. Not faces. Not specific people. Just generations connected by small details. A porch swing in the background. A school notebook on the table. A faint outline of a city skyline through a window. It was subtle. It was layered. When time was called, she put her pencil down immediately. No drama. No tears. The judges walked slowly from piece to piece. One of them stopped at Lily's drawing longer than the others. Later that evening, under bright stage lights, they announced third place. Then second. When they said her name for first, it took her a second to stand up. I don't remember walking to the stage. I just remember seeing her up there, small but steady, holding a plaque that looked too big for her hands. Afterward, one of the judges pulled me aside. Your daughter doesn't just draw well. She understands narrative. That's rare. Narrative. On the flight home, Lily fell asleep against my shoulder. When we landed, my phone buzzed. It was Rachel. I saw the announcement online. Congratulations. That was all. No emojis. No backhanded comment. Just that. I typed 3 different responses and deleted them all. In the end, I wrote thank you. We did not reconcile after that. I never reinstated the tuition payments. I never restarted the rent transfers. Rachel downsized 6 months later. Emma adjusted. Kids do. Family gatherings became separate. Holidays rotated. Communication faded to occasional updates about our mom's health and nothing more. People think the breaking point was the Facebook post or the legal letter. It wasn't. It was the moment my 8-year-old said, "I don't trace," and nobody defended her except me. Some lines, once crossed, redraw the entire picture. And this time I did not try to fix it. Did not try to fix it. Did not try to fix it.